This chart shows the percentage of natural resources of the total exports earnings compared with GDP growth per capita. And if there is any relationship, it is not positive, it is negative. The more natural resources, the lower economic growth per capita. And then the question is, how is that possible? That if there is any relation, it's negative. That if you are rich on natural resources, your economic growth become lower, not higher. And there are different ways of explaining this. It's partly complicated, but the short answer is that if you have too much cash, if the state earns too much money, it tends to spend too much too fast. And if you spend too much too fast, you destroy the traditional part of the economy, you overheat the economy, prices will increase, wages will increase, and labor will move from the competitive part of the economy, from the exposed part of the economy, from the tradable sector to the sheltered service sector, and the productivity of the economy will decrease. And
one of the worst and most severe problems that my country has faced for many decades has been the problem of violence and security. And their history again comes into play by saying, as the Romans used to say when they created the concept of a republic, the first law should be security. Without security, the rest of the laws become very difficult to operate, to become real laws. So that was one of the first objectives that I put as a priority in my government: make Colombia more secure. This person came, he had lost a leg, and he came up and I gave him the keys to his new house. And I said, congratulations, what happened to your leg? And he said, I lost it in the war. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but now you can enjoy your family in this new house. And I explained what the house was, and he said, well, I'm sorry, Mr. President, but I will not be able to do that. And I said, why? Because my wife and my 2 kids were assassinated by this war also. These are the types of dramas that I encounter every single day. And that's what I hope we can stop.
I take a slightly different view from the others in 2 regards. I think we should have intervened earlier, and I think our aim should have been regime change. So in the end, what we were supposed to be voting on were incredibly small strikes that would not, in my view, have had any positive benefit except to salvage some credibility for a president who'd drawn a red line and then tried to turn it into a pink dotted line. Now we're in an even worse position where he's decided not to have any credibility and to go down what is a primrose path led by President Putin in the direction, I think, of an Assad victory in the civil war, with potentially double or treble the deaths that we've seen so far.
Neil and I deeply disagree. I think we should not be involved in regime change. I think the Arab countries in the Middle East are going through a set of revolutions which are theirs. The more we interfere with it, the worse we're going to make it. And therefore, we ought to stay out of regime change. So Neil and I wind up both voting yes, but for totally different reasons, opposite ends of the spectrum.
And I think if the president had taken action 2 weeks ago and not asked the Congress to authorize, people wouldn't have been, in favor by wild percentage points, but a president would have exercised his constitutional duty. He would have backed up his own threats to Assad, and he generally would have had the support of a lot of countries around the world for a limited action.